of our event. For those who don't know me yet, I'm Hannah Limray, the Designathon Director for You Belong Here and Design at UCI. And these finalist presentations are open to everyone, so feel free to invite your friends, even for moral support. And for the top 10 finalists, we're super excited to learn more about your design process and final projects. So again, thank you to our event sponsors, Friends of Figma, Notion, and Balsamic for sponsoring this event and providing us with awesome prizes for our winners. And another hello to our panel of judges, Jeremy, Antonio, Mashope, and Yiming. Unfortunately, Minjun, who was our fifth judge, is under the weather and was unable to help judge, but still our panel of judges really pulled through and spent a good portion of today just tirelessly grading projects. So we're super excited to see these finalist presentations. And yeah. So here's the order of presentations today. All 10 finalist teams were determined by both quantitative scoring as well as a qualitative discussion across judges based on the rubric. So congratulations, and you all should be very, very proud. Each team, just make sure that you are ready to present. And when it is your turn, please have all your cameras on and make sure one person is designated to sharing screen for your presentation. All right, so again, here's just a quick overview of the rubric, which is also detailed in the challenge brief. Like we mentioned, only finalists will be graded on target audience, user research, and design thinking process based on their presentations. And user experience and user interface categories were graded during the first judging round based on the submitted prototypes. But again, overall grades for finalists will be determined after presentations. All right, so without further ado, we're going into presentations. Again, for each team, please make sure to share your screen and turn on your camera so we can see your lovely faces when it is your turn to present. All right, so first up, we have Chaotic, Lawful, Neutral, Good Minions presenting their product workshop. And let me stop sharing my screen so you guys can go ahead and whenever you're ready. And also another quick note, it is an 8-minute time limit. So when we do hit 8 minutes, we are going to have to cut you off.
Yes, thank you, Hannah. Can we just start whenever?
You can go ahead.
Thank you. So hi, everyone. We are Chaotic, Lawful, Good Minions, banana emoji, and this is our presentation on Workshop, your hub for collaborative and accessible creativity. So essentially, this is a web platform for aspiring creative writers, including those with disabilities. And this was mainly focused on collaboration and with both mentors and like-minded peers. I'm gonna pass it off to Allison to talk about our design thinking process now.
Yeah, so before we get into our actual, sorry, it's echoing a little bit on our end. But yeah, before we get into the actual designs, for our design thinking process, we followed the design thinking outline of empathizing, defining, ideating, prototyping, and testing. So I'll get into the next slide for that. Yeah, and so before actually starting out, we did some brainstorming and problem identification based on our personal experiences. And after coming up with a list of ideas, we stuck to trying to build a community of writers who wanted to receive more feedback and help on writing through workshops led by mentors. And we brainstormed some more features here on the right side, and that really launched our project, leading on to the next step of Empathize, which was conducting our user interviews. We really wanted to make sure that our assumptions weren't just assumptions, it's what people and users actually needed. And so our main takeaways from doing these was that all 6 said that they would find a long-term mentor-led writing workshop with other writers helpful. And the majority of users stated that they haven't used writing mentorship platforms outside of academic resources or seeking feedback from people who are close to them. So we saw a need for an app such as this one.
Yes, thank you, Allison. And here we're going to pull some quotes that we did from user testing. The first one was they really wanted a mentor with genuine love and with for writing and applicable for different backgrounds. Another one also mentioned that their mentor had to be transparent, qualified, and realistic about the writing process. The last one also mentioned that for writing platforms, they prefer simplicity to make sure that none of the functionality is sacrificed. So we kept all of this into consideration when we created this user persona. So this one's Sabrina. She is a able-bodied sophomore majoring in the humanities at a STEM-oriented university. So one of her main frustrations here is that she's often writer's block, but because she doesn't have a lot of other writers, she doesn't know when to get help. And here is Alex. He is a creative writer with dyslexia. So he finds it hard to connect and help and ask for help from others because he is afraid that people will look down on him, which is completely invalid because Alex is very capable of writing. So these were the two main audiences that we tried to cater towards in our app. And now I'm gonna pass it over to Ariana on problem statements.
Based on our user research, we identified 4 key problem statements. How might we help creative writers gain helpful feedback from established writers and peers? How might we help them expand their network and break into the writing industry? How might we help them bond with the community of writers, as well as how might we make them feel included in our platform? We also defined our platform. So again, here, Meet Workshop. Our app fosters inclusivity through 2 ways. First of all, we want to make mentorship accessible for all. So we support and match them with diverse users with diverse backgrounds and writing interests to long-term mentor-led workshops that fit their needs best. We also want to cater to users with learning difficulties. So we had dyslexia-friendly fonts and the text-to-speech accessibility functions. And here are 3 of the key features of our platform. First of all, we want to have long-term mentorship. We also want to have collaboration tools as well as accessibility settings.
So right now we'll do a little demo for each of them. So the first one is going to be our long-term mentorship. And to really find a solution for this, we established our writing hub, which has recent documents that users can sort through, whether that they be either own, they can filter through, or those of their other teammates in their workshops. And we also have workshop folders for each of their workshops for them to be able to access everyone's documents and be able to easily edit and receive feedback through that. We also have our sessions featured to address that.
For the collaboration tools.
For the sessions features, they have regular meetings for the workshops, and you're able to easily join meetings through this and see past recordings, and just be able to communicate easily with your workshop team.
For the collaboration tools, users can highlight, draw, comment, and share any documents with their peers, like that.
Yeah, so now we're going to show one of the most important features of our application is accessibility tools. So because we mentioned that before some of our users could have learning, reading, or writing disabilities, we tried to incorporate this with this accessibility settings. So here you could change the font style, the font size, the spacing, the line spacing, and even speech software. For example, if the user is dyslexic, we imported an important font specifically made for them, for example, this one. Now all of the settings are changed according to what best suits them. So let's save this. And now you can see like everywhere on this website, you can incorporate these new features. There's even like a text-to-speech recognition software, so it can help you read out to you. So overall, we thought this was an important part of the app. You can also reset it so it goes back to the original thing.
Yeah, so after we prototyped those pages we just showed you, we wanted to make sure that it was actually usable and something that users could use. And so we did some user testing with a member of the board. Thank you for volunteering and helping us. And so some of the key changes that we had after testing was darkening the tutorial background, which isn't shown here, but it was kind of transparent. It was a bit hard to read the text, just to make it more accessible. Also allowing a skip option so users were able to skip through the tutorial if they chose to, and improving the information architecture of the homepage. Initially, it had the recent documents at the top and the sessions at the bottom, but because the sessions were upcoming, we ended up putting them at the top, and also just generally making the buttons more accessible with size and the spacing and the font more accessible by just making it more consistent and even.
Now moving on, how might we make our app better? So one of our next steps is to conduct primary research with aspiring writers that have learning difficulties to understand how we could make our app more accessible for them and how we might fit their needs better. We also want to have a more fleshed out explore page that is its own separate feature that allows them to explore writing resources and workshops. We also want to conduct more in-depth market research to understand more about the business aspect of developing and launching our product.
And that's it for our presentation. Thank you to everyone who listened and for the judges for being patient with us with the audio issues. But yeah, that's it on our side.
Yay! Good job, everyone. Made it just in time. Perfect. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, go back to sharing my screen. Nope. Wait, am I sharing the right one? Oh yeah, I am. Okay. All righty. Give me 1 second to situate as well. All right, so next we have Big Chopsticks presenting their product, Devular. All right, cool. And you guys can start sharing whenever you're ready.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hannah. All right, if everyone is ready, I guess we're good to go. So, hey everyone, I'm Kevin, and this is our project Devular. We're basically bringing student professionals together for social good. So this is our team, me, Jamie, Rainer, and Grace. So to start, we wanted to go over our design process for this year's challenge. We felt like the double diamond model, although it's very common, was actually really suitable for our project today since it directly aligned with our project stage best. Since we're very early stage, we had a problem, but we didn't really know about it. So we wanted to learn more about it and then develop a solution that appropriately addressed the problem that we had to solve. So the problem that we had is that student professionals often find it difficult to organize efforts to tackle social issues. And so the solution that we came up with was a platform called Devular, which basically brings together student professionals to ideate and develop solutions for different social issues that they are passionate about. So for our research, we decided to opt for a very bare bone, but yet packed research method, which included online research, competitive analysis, and some brief peer interviews, just so that we could have enough depth within our research to gain some key insights to the problem space, but not have to spend too much time since we were very time constrained in this design-a-thon. So for our first step of online research, we did research within Google, Reddit, and Quora just to scour the internet, get a better understanding of the problem space. And what we found from looking on these resources was that young professionals, especially students, very often abandon their social impact pursuits just because they don't have enough support from their peers. So it's very hard to keep going when you don't have support and there's not that many people that you can find that are also socially conscious and care about these issues enough to solve them. The other one was peer interviews. So we surveyed people that were trying our website, and we basically asked them about what kind of issues they're going through, what we could solve better. And we found that our community aspect initially wasn't transparent enough. So we made some modifications during our design to solve these issues. And then the last one is competitive analysis. So we went through the weak points for a lot of different competitors, such as Reddit and Climate-Base, and why these platforms just did not work very well for this issue. So once we did that, we went through a RICE analysis just to prioritize our features, and we found that there are certain features like a community and discussion forum that we really want to include, and that's how we ended up choosing which features we want to go.
Okay, so when we were brainstorming about what we wanted our product to do, we thought about what our key features are for our product, and we designed our ideal new user flow around that to make sure that we really highlighted our key features and made sure that they were the center of our prototype. So if you move on to the next slide, you can see a little more of the specifics of how we want them to go through onboarding and then joining projects and doing their team's messages. And then moving on, we have some of our lo-fis of our dashboard iterations. And on the next slide, you can see they are a little bit more fleshed out, and we ended up going with something more simple because we just wanted it to highlight which project they are currently in. And then the next slide shows some more lo-fis for our project page and user profile. And then on the next slide, we have some of our first iterations for a high fidelity prototype. And then we ended up editing it a couple more times to make it more concise and clean and simple for the user. And then same for the next two slides where we show how we changed our community pages to be more simplified.
And here we are going over some specific screens that we would like to highlight. And here our main feature we are tackling is community discussion. And the value it brings to the user is that they're able to discuss problems and solutions in a more streamlined form. And in this screen, we have the join the community feature. And the value it provides is that it would instantly, users will be able to instantly join communities of student professionals that love the same cause. And this would be more of a community overview where you can view certain statistics such as numbers, in terms of members, creation dates, and the numbers of projects. And you're also able to see the descriptions and example forums along with project listings as you scroll down in the page. And we have an important feature here, which is project posting creation. And the value is that you're able to start your own projects for a certain cause and get others to collaborate with you. And here we have a projects page screen. And in this, it's pretty much all inclusive where you're able to view your team, work together, find files, and communicate all within the site.
Now we're going to move into a live demo. Oh, wait. All right, so to get started, this is our platform. First, we have an onboarding floor that basically allows users to put in some basic info about their level of experience, school that they attend, what kind of areas that they're interested in. And then it will hop right into the dashboard. So this is where all the magic happens. This is where students are able to find communities, connect, browse other communities, and view the discussions that are happening within the communities. And this is the discussion area that we just mentioned. So yeah, from here, you're able to browse communities that you're passionate about. So for example, if we want to fight hunger because we're passionate about that, we can go down here, find the Hunger Fighters community, and view the community. So this is the community page that Rainer was talking about. We're able to view the cause, the projects that they've been working on, and also the discussions that they've been having. So it looks like they've been trying to fix a grain shortage. So if we want to join this community, we can then press join. We can also start a project within this community. So let's just say we have an idea for how we want to fix a grain shortage or anything within this community. We can create a project and then post it. And lastly, we can also go to our projects tab where we see our current projects. Looks like we don't have anything yet. So if we go to browse, we can see the different projects that people have posted and we can join some projects. So let's just say we want to join this global awareness project. Hit join, and then it will take us all the way to the project page. This is where we collaborate with other people who are also passionate about this project in this community.
All right, I think that's time. Thank you, Big Chopsticks, for that presentation. Super cool project as well. I'm gonna share my screen again and we'll move on. So the next team that is presenting is Jackie, presenting her project Connect.
I'm here.
Perfect.
ready
You can
to
start
join.
whenever you want. Let me just stop sharing my screen.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So can you guys see my screen now? Okay. So I'm gonna start. So today I'm gonna present to you guys the case study of the product that I did in the design-a-thon, which is Connect. And this is a social platform to reduce the gap between the veterans that are coming back from the war to the workforce, culture, environment. So I want to start off with asking the question about what do we know about the veterans? Because me, myself, when I ask myself this question, what I thought about veterans is that I thought that they have very massive trauma from the wars. They have like, and at first I thought that to help them, we have to be aware of the symptoms of like their mental health issues and PTSDs, awareness and those stuff like that. But then as I do more research, I begin to recognize that there are more issues that lead to their mental issue and depressions, that it's just more that could be more than just their experience from the war. And one thing that I sorted out from my research is that they feel terribly depressed and hurtful for not getting a job, for not being able to get a job after coming back to the normal life. So I target my audience and I learn more about them, and I understand that the audience that I'm targeted to wasn't just like veterans that serve in the battlefield. There could be people who serve in other departments of the military. There are musicians in the military. There are technicians. There are logistics people. So they can have more career interest after coming back from the war. Then I conduct some interview and also like listen to some interviews to veterans who came back, who came back to normal life after get deployed. And here are some quotes that I sorted out that I found the most valuable from my research. So first of all, someone said that our value doesn't come from the past, but people don't seem to understand that. The second quote is that I don't know how to move forward, nor do I know how to start again. And number 3 is that no one seems to understand, and worst of all, they don't try to understand. And my synthesis from this research and these observations are the 3 bullet points. Number 1, the user feels angry and anxious for being excluded from the typical workplace mindset. Number 2, the user feels confused and lonely for having to deal with this all by themselves. And number 3, the user feels misguided and lost for not having a path to follow. Because, they have very specific circumstances that us, like normal civilian, doesn't have the knowledge to understand and empathize with them. So I ask 3 questions. Number 1, how might we help the user to be better represented in the workforce so they can get better opportunities? Number 2, how might we help the user create helpful connections that help them in their careers? And number 3, how might we make the user feel more belonged and understood? And my hypothesis for these pain points are that number 1 is about how do we represent them in an image that really represents their true values and their experience working in military. It doesn't stop at just like a terminology. It is more than that, and we have to figure out a way to represent that better. Number 2 is to create a bond. So a successful veteran turned entrepreneur that I listened to, he said one thing that I really be mindful about is that if you want to help veterans to get back to normal life, you have to get them to talk with people who have the same interests that are actually the normal civilian. And number 3 is to create communities that really cherish them and nourish them, that in such communities, they not only understand them, but they can also thrive with them in their future goals and careers interests. So, and along my process, I also thought about like, what makes a user feel not inclusive in other social platforms, and how can I better that in the product that I'm designing in this design-a-thon. So here's a case study of the Reddit platform. When I look on it and I search for the keyword veteran, here are all the blogs, here are all the topics that just show up. And it can be very stressed that these platforms, they really alienate the veteran out of the normal forum. So here are some of the pictures during my design process. I did a lot of iteration, a lot of redesign, and to get to the final product right here. Okay, so here's my final product. When you get in, you
Wait,
get.
sorry, Jackie. I think it's not sharing that window.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. Okay, we can see it now.
Okay, so here's the actual product. When you got in, then you're gonna got onboarding with the some of the features of the app to get this user to be more familiarized with what this product can do for them. When set up their account, they can choose their career interests, and that will help them sort it out. The buddies, like this could be either civilians or veterans that have the same career interests as them. So when they connect with their buddies, they can schedule meetings or talk with them about professional life. They can join community right here. And here it is. This is the home screen, which feature the professional profile that is created to help better representing the veterans. So here's one feature that I really like from it, is that it gives information about terminology that is not familiar to the normal civilian, like the NCO in military is a terminology that that is really well regarded, but is not being known to the civilian. When they go to the Buddy Hub, then they can add their buddies or schedule a talk with their buddies, like sharing experience, and then just schedule it and so they can talk with their buddies. They can go to history, like calls history, and to see what their schedule is today or the upcoming calls on this tab. This is a community tab that when they get in, they can post a post anonymously to like share their thoughts within this community. And also the list of communities, as you can see, they are very curated for the thriving veterans who looking for a career after being deployed from the military.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So-
Jackie, we're gonna have to cut. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Jackie. That was really amazing as well. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen for the next group. All right, so next we're going to be having Worldly presenting their product Worldly. And is the team here? Are you guys ready to present?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I will stop sharing my screen and you guys can start whenever you're ready.
Oh, it's saying that I need to like give it permission. I have to like leave Zoom and then like reopen it.
Oh, that might happen if you got like a new computer or something. Would anyone else on your team be able to share? If not, then yeah, like Jeremy said, you can try to quickly
Okay, I can
and
quickly.
restart. Okay,
I'm sorry.
no worries.
Hannah, do we want to just jump to the next one and then go back to this one?
Yeah, we can do
Oh, wait, did
that.
it work?
Oh.
I think I got it to work.
Okay,
Oh,
sounds good.
okay. Hi. Our app is called Worldly. I'm Youngki. I'm a second year design major. And
Yeah, my name is Mary. I'm a second year as well, studying cognitive science and data science.
And I'm Brittany. I'm studying cognitive science and design.
Yeah, so we wanted to really find a solution with how we could really connect communities together more. So as we were brainstorming, language was something that came up and like education. So that's why we decided to delve into language learning apps. And through this, we found that a lot of language learning apps don't really connect language content with understanding cultures. And so a lot of the nuances that one might learn through like being immersed in the culture is often lost. And really a lot of this is not providing community aspect on current language apps, as many are really focused on self-focused on one's own improvement.
And as for our solution to solve this problem, we really tried to go beyond brute repetition through varied exposure to language and culture, and really specific key features that we have in our application are a set of vocabulary games that's very, very immersive, a diverse storybook library, and even a catalog of in-person events that are related to the language that you're learning. And we believe that through improving these skills with reading, listening comprehension in a real world scenario, it better helps users dive deep into any culture and meet people all across the world. And throughout the course of this process, we did follow a typical design timeline, which involves user research, competitor analysis, user personas, affinity mapping, developing user flow, and then ultimately some lo-fi and hi-fi designs.
Yeah, so for our user research, we were able to have 30 participants for our surveys, and this was through a Google form to collect data about individual learning experiences with language learning. So this involved like what type of apps do people typically use, what frustration, pain points are typically involved with these type of apps, and just more about the general learning environment and journey that people go through. And we also conducted 2 user interviews, which were around 15 minutes each, where all of us were able to gain further insight on the persons with their learning a new language. And one key point I do have to mention was that it was really interesting to see how someone mentioned that a lot of the points that they remember from learning a new language was when they did projects, and this involved cooking, doing things that are typically outside of the classroom. So that was one thing we wanted to focus on in our design. And so these are some quotes that we were able to pull. So examples of questions that we asked were what motivates you to learn a new language? And someone mentioned about communicating with people from different cultures and backgrounds and really expanding their understanding of language and human nature. And another was what were challenges they faced when they learned a new language in the past? And this was not having grammar foundational concepts, because a lot of apps aren't really mindful of foundational concepts that are required when people are learning a language, and really just the content isn't super mindful of that.
So these are some of I guess the questions we asked in our survey, and it turns out that 21 out of 30 responded that it is important to learn about cultures and customs. So we really took that into account when we were making our application, and basically we try to make sure that when users use our app, they can use it and feel accustomed to wherever they are going, or to feel more, I guess, natural in a sense. And we also asked users whether what's their preference on, I guess, their learning methods, and 70% did say visual learning was the most important to their learning. And Worldly really uses different visuals to help support users, but we also utilize audio, stories, and real life events to help users that utilize different learning styles.
Okay, so based off the user research, and this was the Go surveys, as I mentioned, and the live interviews, we created 2 personas that we thought were encompassing of the values that we wanted our users to have, and really what a user might want. And so our audience were those who were no longer in school and wanted to become more immersed in learning a new language and being mindful in that process. So one was a learning enthusiast, and they want to learn, they want to add to their growing collection of language learns. The goals would be learn new language they have no experience in. And the pain points were not being able to focus on foundational components, limited learning resources to subscriptions and paywalls. And then the mindful learner is someone who's hoping to travel to a country with different language from theirs and be able to have a conversation with native speakers. Some pain points were learning materials are not reflective of a common speaker, incorporating more learning materials about a country. Yeah, so this was our competitor analysis. And so we have various apps that we looked at. And so one was Babbel. Just to go by quickly, some great color feedback when you get a question right or wrong, podcast feature, virtual class, cons, subscription, paywalls.
And the next is Duolingo. Things that we really enjoyed was their gamification, which encourages users to continue coming back. But we did notice that they have very limited question types that aren't super focused on listening and speaking. And as for Rosetta Stone, we enjoyed a thorough phrase book that they had. However, we also found that there was also similar subscriptions and paywall blockers that prevented us from unlocking a lot of the features that are revolving around limited question types. And there was not a very intuitive tutorial when users first utilized the app.
For drops, they really had a timer to keep track of how you are how long you've been learning, and it really stops the time when you're in the home screen and only goes down when you're actually learning. And they also had a script system, which was pretty cool, and then the audio to help users pronounce words. And in cons, most of these apps, they have a paywall or subscription, and this app only lets you practice for 5 minutes per 10 hours, and not really a conversational practice, and only focus on vocabulary and not too much on grammar.
And so just a brief through, this was the overview of the computer analysis, and we could go on to the next one. Just affinity mapping of different features that we thought were important from the research in our brainstorming process. And this was the user flow that we mapped out after the affinity mapping and research, and just what we wanted our flow to be like. And so some, oh, sorry, you could go with me.
Next, we did organize every lo-fi design on our Figma page in order to help us get to know the features a little bit more before developing them in high fidelity. And in the next page, we do have some close-ups of what that would look like.
And this was just a brief overview of the high fidelity designs. All
right.
Yeah. Okay.
I cut
thank
you off.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Worldly. That's a really awesome project. Super exciting. I'm going to share my screen once again. Move on to the next group. So let's see. All right. So next up, we have Idea Art presenting their product, Snackopedia. I can't, oh yeah. Are you guys all here?
Yep, we're here.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Feel free to share and start whenever.
Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today. So my name is Fiona. And my teammates are Aaron and Robert, and we are called Snackopedia, where you can shop snacks from all over the world. So we are a group of college students who are passionate about empowering underrepresented groups. After hearing the prompt, we decided that our product would be a mobile app that enables our users to purchase snacks from all over the world. We created this app in the hopes of creating a welcoming and delicious environment for our users to celebrate their cultural backgrounds. Basically, the purpose of our application is to promote diversity and establish a sense of community within our users by incorporating a diverse global market that our users can easily navigate and learn more about. So for our background research, we found an article by Barbara Bunkessen called Food is Good to Teach an Exploration of the Cultural Meanings of Food. According to Barbara, food is an excellent lens through which we can appreciate the universal needs for nourishment and finds a myriad of diverse expressions in food's cultural messages and uses. However, human cultural diversity is a socio-political minefield where differences are exaggerated while others are greeted with hostile disdain. And there is a strong connection between income and food, and that the connection between food and culture is equally important. Foods are important to group and individual identity. With so many options to choose from, it can be difficult for users to shop snacks from multiple countries. As a result, we wanted our app to encompass people from all around the world, such as immigrants who miss their homes, country, locally made snacks, and for people who are just curious and have a desire to learn more about other cultures.
Okay, so after doing some initial research, we decided to come up with a mission statement, and that is to educate people around the world about different cultures through the medium of snacking. Okay, so first we conducted surveys with a sample size of around 10 people, and we conducted a survey to gauge what our users would want in our mobile app, specifically targeting immigrants or children of immigrants, as they are most likely to have snacks that they miss from their home countries. We also surveyed people who were interested in snacks from foreign cultures and could potentially be customers for the app. From that survey, we discovered that there is no identified centralized source to buy international snacks, as most are divided by cultures. And people want to learn more about the cultures of where the snack is from. And people also want a way to connect to their culture.
Also, to better understand our customers' needs, we develop a user persona. We created Alexa Chow, who is 18 years old. She's also a first-year college student at the University of Rochester. She's from Shenzhen, China, And she is a foodie who misses her friends and parents back home and eating Chinese snacks since it reminds her of her hometown. As for her needs, she says she wants to feel a sense of community again in a culturally supportive environment, a way to purchase Chinese snacks since there are no local Asian supermarkets in her college towns. As for her pains, she feels homesick and nostalgic for food that remind her of home, and she feels excluded. And she wants to learn more about different food cultures, but she does not know where to go.
And with that, we got some insights and opportunities for our app as to include features that showcase inclusion, that have features for a diverse and welcoming community, and it's also going to be a reliable source for international snacks. And so we began our design thinking process. So at first, when we were coming up with ideas, we used an app called Miro to put all our ideas in one place and to think about features. And we wanted to promote inclusivity within our app. So that was one of the main features that we wanted to have. And we also came up with different concept ideas and features through this mood board. And we were like taking inspiration from how other food delivery apps did their features in order to be able to have a good user experience for our users.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
So this is our lo-fi wireframe, and where we planned out our page, how pages will transition. Some early logo concepts idea I drew out. And our solution, Snackopedia. Taking all our findings into consideration, we created Snackopedia, where you can order snacks from all across the world. With Snackopedia, we aim to provide a centralized source for globally diverse markets, support all income levels, support cultural foundations through our donations feature, and give access to locally made snacks from countries around the world. Most importantly, celebrate all cultures and eat delicious snacks. So here's our app's landing page. Let's get started, where you can choose your language you want the app to be in. Our login screen, you could sign up and create an account. From here, we get to the onboarding process, where you're able to select all the regions you want to explore, and you can narrow it down to which country you want in particular. And we also accommodate all types of diets, such as pescatarian, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, and any allergies you might have.
And after that happens, you get put into a page where you choose snacks from different countries that you would like to add. And then it generates your snacks. And then you get put into the homepage with recommended snacks for you, recommended countries that were generated from you, as well as we wanted to highlight socioeconomic classes to be able to use this app by the first filter being price, so you could sort by lowest price. And we also wanted to put coupons on the top so that anyone who might need them can use. Next is the search tab, where you could explore different countries and their snacks. For example, we have India, and we could see the top 6 trending snacks in this country. And next we have the orders page.
Yeah, so for order, as you can see, like on the orders page, you can see what's in progress and what completed orders you may have. And when you click on one of your orders, it has all of the details of your order, such as your date, number, quantity, total, payment method, and billing address. And as you can see here, it tells you the status of your delivery order. And as you can see here on your My Cart, it tells you the items that you bought, and then you can also click on learn more to learn more about the origin of your snacks. For instance, one of the snacks we bought hypothetically is from Japan. And it tells you about like more information about that country, such as like their flag, fun facts, popular sites, and you can even make a donation to that country. Or more specifically, more of like a culturally diverse organization, such as the Asian Pacific Fund. And it tells you why you should donate to that organization.
And lastly, we have the account page where you could do anything you could do with the settings. And we have a wallet where we wanted to showcase that you could add SNAP, EBT, and food stamps as a payment method so that anyone could buy snacks with our app.
And that's all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much for that great presentation. Going to move on now to the next group. If I can find my slides. Okay, there we go. So next up, we have Team MLH presenting their product, Honeycomb.
Hi, okay, can we share our screen?
Yes, go ahead whenever you're ready. Let me stop share.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are you guys able to see?
Okay. Hi, my name is Leah.
And I'm Mandy.
And our app is called Honeycomb, an app for busy bee parents. So starting off with our research, Mandy and I found a commonality within our own parents who wanted to be involved with our education, but didn't necessarily have the resources to do so. And furthering our research, we realized the importance of family involvement. It is an incredible impact on child development. Thus, all parents should be able to have an equal opportunity to do so, unlike our own parents. And so currently the main way of parental involvement within schools is PTA involvement, which is Parent-Teacher Association. However, some of the constraints within this is it's an extreme time commitment. So PTA participation requires a high time commitment with many of the meetings occurring during working hours. It's also pretty exclusive where it requires nominations and a pretty lengthy application process.
And so with our research, we found that parents in families with children, a lot of them are working. And so with married couple families, we had 96.5% had at least one employed parent, and 62.3% of those families had both parents working full-time. And in single parent households, 81.7% of families maintained by fathers are employed, and in families maintained by mothers, 71.2% are employed. And so with these, we found that families with children, parents are really involved with the workforce, and so they might not always have the time available for things like PTA involvement. And so with further research, we found that lack of time is actually one of the greatest barriers that parents state to be a challenge between them getting involved with their kids' education.
So two quotes that we pulled from our interviews was, as a single mom working full time, it would be difficult to attend meetings. Who will watch the kids while I go to school? So this shows some of the external factors, not only work, but also factors such as childcare that can prevent parents from attending parent activities. A second quote that we pulled was, immigrant parents are working all the time, so I don't even know how to learn more about what your school is up to. So this quote that we pulled shows the disconnection between the parent and the child's involvement, and there's not necessarily a place for them to stay up to date with this information.
And so with our research, we found that the problem is that a lot of parents would like to get involved with their child's education, but are lacking an accessible approach to do so. And so the target audience that we wanted to design for are busy parents and underrepresented parents. And so this includes parents with other personal time commitments, lengthy work schedules, or like single parent and lower income families that traditionally have very unforgiving work schedules. And also we just wanted to design for parents in general, just because we wanted to target these specific user groups. We still wanted to make our app usable for all parents who want to get involved. And so to kind of synthesize our problem space, our problem statement is how might we support underrepresented parents in their pursuit of school involvement to foster a more inclusive education system. And so to address that, we came up with 3 main design goals that we wanted to use to guide our design. So the first one is convenience. We know that parents are really busy and have other commitments, so we wanted to provide an all-in-one platform for parents to stay informed and connected. The second is representation, and we wanted to especially empower underrepresented families to advocate for their thoughts and needs. And the last one is fostering connection between various families through things like community groups, channels, events, and resources. And so to address all of those design goals, we started with mapping out our user journey and including features that we wanted to include in our design. And so we will go into detail about what features we decided to add.
So this is our solution, the app Honeycomb. It's a convenient and accessible all-in-one platform that supports parent involvement within schools. So one of the first implementations that we added was MyFeed, and this is to kind of address the conveniency issue that we found within our interviews. So this is a personalized feed that allows parents to stay up to date with the school district, as well as keeping track of their own involvement within the school. Additionally, another implementation that we added was events. So this is for parents to be able who want to attend in-person meetings and activities to be able to plan in advance for them within their own busy schedule, which is a concise calendar page for parents to effortlessly learn of ongoing activities, as well as a personal calendar tab for easy tracking.
And so our third page is an advocacy page where parents can vote on ongoing initiatives and proposals in the school district to support inclusive decision-making. And so currently, the main way for parents to get involved with decision-making in districts is attending those really lengthy PTA meetings, and not all parents have the time commitment to do so. And so with this page, we hope to keep parents informed of what initiatives are going on, and also allow them to voice their stance directly through our app. And our last one, we wanted to hit on fostering community with our product. And so first we have a tab for community groups where parents can find groups and communities that they want to join, and so to foster a sense of belonging for all families. And we also have a resources tab to centralize all the resources that the community and the school district provides, so that really busy parents can easily find access to whatever support they're looking for. And so with our design, there are definitely challenges and limitations that we didn't address. And so one is language and cultural barriers. We assume that parents are fluent in English, or at least they're familiar with the school system. And so that's something we want to address in the future. Another one is PTA and school implementation. We know that not all school districts or PTAs might have the resources to implement a product like Honeycomb. And lastly is addressing privacy concerns. So with one of our interviews, we found that parents may want an anonymous space to voice their needs because they feel more safe doing so. And so one of our challenges is to find a balance of encouraging open discourse with accountability.
And so for the future of Honeycomb, we hope to, in the future, implement it within school districts, starting with our target audience. Starting with underserved school districts implementation. But
yeah, that's our project.
That's our project. Thank you.
Yay, round of applause. Thanks, Team MLH, for presenting Honeycomb to us. We'll move on then to the next group. All right, so the next group that we'll be presenting, we have Umamis presenting their product, Umami. Is your team here?
Yes.
Oh, I see you guys. Perfect. Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen and you guys can start whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, can everyone see my screen? Okay, perfect. All right. Oops. Oh, Sorry, technical difficulties. All right. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so I hope you've all been having a great evening, and we are Umomi, and we're so excited to share our project and our hard work with you all today. So we are Umomi, where every bite has a story. So my name is Jenny Trin, and our team is made up of Julie Fan, Rachel Rodolfa, as well as Vivian Nguyen. So what is Umomi? So at Umomi, we aim to provide a platform for individuals to experience new cultures and, most importantly, an opportunity to come together. Our goal is to solve disconnection across cultures and communities through the love of food. And we found that cooking dishes was one of the best ways to gateway oneself into new ingredients, cultures, and traditional practices. But if you're anything like us, you only really visit recipe pages to find what you need. And I never really researched further about the culture that I'm cooking from. But at Umomi, our goal is to reimagine this process, incentivizing home cooking and culture appreciation. So the problem versus the solution. So we found that by visiting a lot of mainstream recipe websites, that there was a massive lack of cultural appreciation. For example, this is a website for xiaolongbao from tasty.com. They don't honor the name, and there's also no way to really learn about the culture of China or Shanghai through this way. And we found that the step-by-step guide used unenthused language and doesn't discuss any traditional practices. And there's also no community for it. So overall, for them, we found that a lot of mainstream websites don't honor the dish or its culture. There's also no disabilities mode on the website for assisted viewing, and there's limited engagement with other users. And also sometimes the recipe is difficult to get through, and you have to get through many minutes of reading. So for us, our aim is to celebrate the dish as a whole from start to finish, from the name to the pronunciation to traditional practices to the culture. We also have disabilities tool in our app for high contrast and alternate text sizes, and we also want to incentivize people coming back for our storyline and cute character collection that you'll see later. And we also have an active community page. And for us, it's recipe first, story later. The recipe should be easy to get to. So next, we have the research.
All right, so our team Umomi has conducted essential UX research for our app. So we sent out a Google form to identify key outlooks in terms of approaching cultural food representation on a global aspect. So we want to address how can a cultural recipe app reconnect college students with their cultural traditions, and how do we promote cultural sensitivity? So essentially, we want to introduce a taste of home no matter where you roam with Umomi. So we had a total of 18 participants that completed our survey and 5 user interviews. So many of them college students from our sample are not significantly comfortable cooking cuisines outside their own culture. And there was this compelling interest of feeling disconnected to their very own culture and seeking to reconnect with the community itself. So with their highlights, we have yet another question onto our table. How can we cater to their needs through regional variations, guidance on unfamiliar technology, and sharing of cultural experiences? So our team devised 3 key factors, and users are concerned about lack of knowledge or dietary needs and being culturally disconnected from home. And with that, we could establish our next steps. So we created a user persona to guide us through our research process. And here we have Layla Phillip, a college student who is German and uses the pronouns she, her, hers. She is 20 years old, a full-time business major student who lives off campus and has to cook every day. So Layla wishes to experiment with unfamiliarity in terms of cooking and also learn cultural recipes. But she has difficulty making time for home-cooked meals, and it's hard to find German cuisines nearby. Layla wants to reconnect with her German heritage through food and traditional practices. And so using Layla as our guide for Umomi, we wanted to address her frustrations while considering her life as a college student.
All right, so moving on to the process in user flow, we thought and prioritized on easy accessibility. Therefore, we have 3 main features, which are getting quick step-by-step recipes, implementing a compelling story concept, and having a connected community. So during our initial wireframes, our central hub allowed users to connect with their recommended recipe of the day and explore even more recipes from other cultures. To help users engage, we added a community feature with an ability to post your dish, as well as any dietary restrictions or ingredients that the recipe may have. We included dish personalization and a live persona character implemented to show cultural significance in a lighthearted manner. We know that cultures often share similarities in dishes, but they're pronounced differently by different cultures, so we also took that into account as well. So in profile personalization, we added an avatar feature involving the food characters that the user has acquired through learning recipes throughout their process to incentivize trying new recipes, cultures, and collecting even more characters. What we added to the hub was a dictation option that was implemented to support speech-to-text communication, a role for dietary restrictions implemented to recognize health and safety, and a range of cuisines to easily access various cultures from different countries. So we decided on receiving a postcard concept to enhance the travel-like experience that users can enjoy from the comfort of being at home at the same time. And we also added a comment feature in the community forum to increase overall communal interaction and free expression of cultural appreciation.
So overall, how did we end up incorporating all the concerns into a final solution and while trying to emphasize culture's food? So let's welcome our high five wireframe. So this is our quick little brief branding. This is our colors that we decided to choose. Some light, fun peach palette to represent family and warmth. And our mascot is some cute Shalom-Bows. All right, so let's get started. So once you hop onto the app, you're welcomed with the sign up page that takes you to this quick, fun, easy quiz to recognize and normalize any eating habits or dietary restrictions that you may have, and this will greet users in a friendly manner. And once you sign up and log in, you're welcome to the main homepage that has a clean and clear navigation where it takes you to recipe of the day, and there's a community forum where you can connect with others to share and see people's recipes. So once you click on a recipe that you like, it'll take you to an all-in-one information hub that allows you to explore new flavors while learning about cultural practices. And this allows our audience to reconnect with cultural traditions while celebrating the diversity of world cuisines. And once you finish a recipe, you're taken to the story section, and this brings the dish to life. And it takes you to characters that have a friendly appearance that allows the users to learn more about cultures. And there's the pronunciation practice tools. And so if you don't know how to pronounce a cuisine, that's okay. It's there to help you. And you have a letter option. So once you click on it, it will take you to a letter that has the brief history of the dish and its cultural significance. And once you're done with the letter, you're rewarded with a postcard from the country behind the cooked dish. And you can always access it through the profile page. So next slide will take us to the profile page, and it aims to create a custom avatar that reflects your unique personality. You're able to choose different cuisines. There's the Shalom-Bows. We also have Jatai and other types of food. And this just helps you want to learn new recipes and allows you to save and organize your favorite recipes into collections.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that presentation as much as we did making it. So some key takeaways were that something that we could work on in the future is a heavier emphasis on user research before and after Umomi has been developed. Even though we got the chance to survey and interview multiple people, they were mainly students or parents of students, and we would really like the chance to talk with longtime home cooks, cultural anthropologists, and further gauge how successful our app would be in remedying issues of cultural insensitivity and promoting home cooking new recipes. And a feature that we would like to include in the future is being able to buy culture-specific foods directly from our app. So we would like to partner with cultural grocery chains tailored to providing hard-to-get ingredients such as H Mart, 99 Ranch, or Cardenas Supermarket. Overall, fleshing out Umomi from start to finish was probably the most incredibly rewarding experience for our whole team. And from doing this and from adding practice pronunciation tools to adding high contrast disability features, our main takeaway was truly learning how to design for inclusivity. And we gained a greater awareness of needs and challenges and got to see firsthand on how this contributes to a more empathetic and thoughtful design solution. So overall, thank you so much for listening to our Umomi team. And if you have any questions for us, please DM us over the Zoom chat or find us on the Discord. Thank you all.
Thank you. Really, really great presentation. Love the graphics, getting super hungry. All right, I'm going to share my screen to go to the next group. Next up, we have Team Melting Pot presenting their product Melting Pot. Are you guys all ready?
Yes,
Yes, I think so.
Yes. All right. Sounds good.
All right. Hi guys, hello. This might sound a little familiar, but we created an application called Melting Pot, and it's going to provide a community for people to share their cultural heritage through food and spark a sense of pride and connection with our users and empower them to move past internalized stigmas surrounding the foods of their cultures. Ultimately, we want to bring people closer together through the universal language of food. Now I'll move on to Quinn, who's going to talk a little bit more about our problem statement and our user research.
Thank you. So before going to the research behind our app, the Melting Pot, the problem statement that surrounds our users is that the disconnection that people feel from their cultural roots often makes it difficult for them to access traditional recipes and culinary knowledge, leading to a struggle to discover and appreciate lesser known cultural recipes. And going into our research, due to the lack of time that we had, we resorted to creating a survey and we were able to receive 20 responses. And as for the targeted audience, they are individuals seeking to forge cultural connections and deepen their understandings and appreciation of diverse cuisines through the sharing and enjoyment of food. And when in the survey, when asked if people had the time, would they want to learn more about other cultures and or reconnect to their own cultural roots through cooking? 85% said yes. And to provide more insight into our users, here are some quotes from them. For the first quote, the person said, "I wish more people knew about my culture's food." And for the second one, "I want to be able to preserve my family's recipes and also be able to exchange it with others." And for the last one, "I used to be so ashamed of bringing Indian food to school." And now I'm going to hand it off to Oshana, who's going to talk about the problems and solutions.
Yeah, so some of the problems that we kind of saw through our user research were that individuals felt that with the resources currently available to them, there was a lot of oversaturation with popular recipes from certain cuisines, but other recipes that were just as good ended up being a little bit overshadowed. And so through our app, we really wanted to put a spotlight on these lesser known recipes and make sure that users have easy access to them. We also saw that individuals voiced that while they did want to explore new tastes, they often weren't quite sure where to start, and it led to some reluctance about going out of their comfort zones and trying new things. And so in order to encourage users, we kind of added a map feature that visualizes their progress through trying recipes from new cultures. And then we also saw that individuals felt that there was a real lack of connection in the cooking process, especially when accessing recipes on digital devices. So we wanted to give them a way to discuss and highlight their own personal experiences while exploring new cuisines. So I'll move on to Devika now, and she's going to touch on our design process and kind of show off our design in full.
Yeah, thank you, Oshana. So as you can see here, some of the sketches and low fidelity wireframes that we created to make our product. Let me just exit and show you our high fidelity product. Okay, so this is our app, Melting Pot, where food brings people together. This is what our homepage would look like once you get started. So let's pretend I'm a new user. Our onboarding screen showcases new features and the main features that the app offers. So you could explore diverse cuisines, connect to your heritage roots, and lastly, share your culture story through food. So let me just sign up, create an account, and this is what the homepage would look like. So you could see trending dishes, new dishes every week. And one of the features that we had is Food of the Week, where we highlight dishes from really like less known cuisines such as like Sri Lankan or Lebanese, or even like food from known cuisines that are like not that popular. For instance, when you think of like Indian food, the first thing that comes to your mind is like butter chicken and naan. No one really thinks of like the hundreds of other dishes that are just as good. So here they're showcasing laddu for this week. As you can see, the user talks about the story behind the dish and how laddu is more than just a sweet delicacy for her and other people in India. It shows the ingredients, the instructions to make the dish. And let's say that you did end up cooking this dish, then you have the option to share your thoughts and see how other people felt about it. And once you share your thought, the country that's associated with the cuisine will light up on the world map. We're hoping that by having this feature, it would motivate more people to try out new cuisines that they otherwise wouldn't have tried. So as you can see, we've tried like cuisine from Brazil, India, China. You could also see like saved recipes that you saw while browsing, or my recipes, where you could see recipes that you've submitted in the past. So let's say I want to share a recipe. So you fill this out, add all the ingredients, directions, and then the story behind it, a picture, and you have a preview option where you get to see what it would look like. Okay, let's say it's like dinner time, you don't know what to eat, and you're just gonna browse through different things. So you could press dinner. We have different dietary restrictions that you could apply to make it more inclusive. And then lastly, look at different recipes from different cuisines. We also have a discover section where you could see events that are going on, like the art of sushi cooking class, which gives you an opportunity to like learn more about other cuisines and see how people do things in other cultures. We also have a video option where people share videos from all over the world showcasing their food. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We hope you enjoyed our app. Thank you so much.
Yay, thank you, three of you. Super great presentation. We're gonna move on to the next one. All right, so next up, we have Colorful presenting their product Colorful. And is your team ready?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, perfect. I will stop sharing.
All right, yeah, just to introduce ourselves, we're Colorful. So just to like give a quick overview of what our project is, we wanted to build a product, as the brief mentioned, that encourages community and inclusivity. And our objective specifically for our product was to improve access to visual arts as a form of therapy and enrichment. And our target audience was young children, specifically those with special needs. And to develop this product, we used Figma and the Adobe Suite. Yeah, so as designers, we thought to explore problems within the creative realm. We referenced sources ranging from advocacy group websites to academic papers and news articles, gleaning that there's much disparity in access to arts education. In particular, low-income communities and children with special needs were the ones most affected by inequitable access to the visual arts. Yeah, so to address this problem, we asked ourselves, how might we encourage community dialogue in order to improve the accessibility and efficacy of arts education in child development? So after clarifying our issue, we explored its problem space. A couple of findings that stuck out to us were the proportion of parents who were struggling to access arts education. In this case, 70% of parents who were surveyed by the Journal of Intellectual Disability Research. And then also some promising leads on how we could make online modalities effective agents for education.
And so now we decided to develop a solution with 4 factors in mind. And so first, we wanted to create a safe space for children to explore art. We wanted to give students the confidence to explore disciplines outside of traditional academic practices, promote inclusivity and accessible education, and finally, allow parents to engage with one another in a community-oriented setting. As for the competitive analysis, Colorful has a couple key features that we wanted to highlight, such as daily art challenges, a doodle board, guided practice, a community forum, parental lock, and personal gallery. And as you can see, our competitors such as Lingo Kids, Splash Learn, and Drawing for Kids each have some variants of this feature, but it's only Colorful that provides an array of all of them. And then as for the opportunity that Colorful provides, we wanted to create an accessible medium for younger students to embrace their creativity and empower them to champion and share their work. And so next we wanted to, sorry, Jane, go ahead.
Yeah, to understand the target users better, we created 2 user personas and applied them to scenarios by creating a user journey map. So Emily loves spending time with her friends, but she has limited control over her hands and arms. Since the app product is designed to have big buttons and touch target sizes, she's able to navigate through the app and create artworks and also engage with the community and share her work with her peers. James is visually impaired and wants to feel included in the art community, and he utilizes the auditory stimulus feature and the customization of the doodle board layout to interact with the product. Through the audio captions, he's able to share his work and communicate his work while also listening to other people's works and their captions as well. After adding the features, we created an information architecture to organize features into a feasible product. We created a lot of low fidelity drafts, continuing to design and iterate the features. And some technical considerations we went through is, since we were designing for an iPad, there might be multimodal interactions. People might use their fingers and also their Apple Pencil, and also micro interactions and audio stimuli, especially for people with visual impairments, was a necessity in our product. And we acknowledge continued improvement with a dedicated feedback forum for the parents to access with a parental lock where the children should be locked out of. And also to make it more accessible and more fun, we added a guide character to interact with users and assist the whole product.
Yeah, so moving forward, as you're developing the app, we want to maintain an organized design system, just develop a sense of cohesion and clarity as you're scaling from mid-fi to high-fis, but also a place where we would be able to reference things like web content accessibility guidelines for color contrast or text sizes and how that would transfer to an iPad platform. So we're going to quickly go through some key or core features. So starting out with making a friend during onboarding. So this is where you can choose your guide character throughout your doodling journey. So a lot of educational content that you might see, shows like Dora perhaps, there's always this character that engages with them, delivers positive affirmation and educates the user. So that's something that we want to emulate with our app. And also this key point about delivering positive affirmation, just straying away from, I guess, hard metrics like 90% or scores like that might deter users, but more so just rewarding them. And moving on to making your own space. So we recognize that kids can get messy and scrappy when creating or playing around. That's completely okay. We would want to embrace this and allow users to sort of organize the spaces how they want it and what best suits their needs, just so they could create to their fullest potential. And in terms of the different pathways within doodling, we have guided practice and freeform. So creative tooling can be intimidating. So Figma, Photoshop, Illustrator, do have like steep learning curves that may not always be the most kid-friendly or just like user-friendly in general. So while our interface, we want to make it like pretty streamlined. So like taking away like a lot of like decision-making, I guess, like making it where there's like a set number of options, so that it's a lot more easy and intuitive to interface with. But also having like this guide characters to sort of like lead through practice sessions, where then the users can then like try it out themselves. But creativity also shouldn't have like any hard rules, and we didn't want to put our users in a box. So that's where freeform comes in, where you can sort of like just explore to their fullest potentials. And for community board with Megan.
Yeah. So we also wanted to give them the opportunity to share their work. Colorful encourages students to develop communication skills, both in written and spoken form through captions and also podcast style memos. By sharing to the community, these children can also learn about other stories as well as learn how to articulate their own and kind of translate their visual learnings to like a more like oral form. And moving on, as a final touch, we wanted to include a personal gallery so that children can reflect on their own past work and growth. Collectible badges can serve as external motivators for those who need that extra push as well.
So just like looking forward in terms of measuring the success of Colorful. So some considerations are how often are users sharing and creating works. So this includes including the written captions or adding the audio clips to their pieces, or just like how often are they opening up more, like just looking at their progress from like when they joined to like the present day. And are users becoming more proficient? So completing doodles faster or being less reliant on guided practices and just having a lot more fun with it and doing more free form pieces. And how are the parents interacting with the product? So looking at the forum to see like what sort of engagement we're getting in terms of testimonies and conversations to sort of like gauge the efficacy of the app. And that's Colorful. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening.
Yay. Thank you guys, super cute. Really loved it. All right, sorry. We're gonna move on to the last group today. I know it's running a bit late, but last but not least, wanted to introduce our team RDDI 26 with their product Sona.
Hi. 1 second while we screen share.
All right, sounds good. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Hi, everyone. We're Team Ready. We're a group of undergraduate students at UT Austin, and we're aiming to use design as a way to better society. And we're presenting our application, Sona. This is our team. My name is Rumi. We also have Daniela, and Nidhi. We used products like Adobe Illustrator, Figma, and then also a FigJam board for collaboration.
Sorry about that. So basically, we discovered that as first and second generation students, we noticed differences between us and our peers who are not accustomed to accents. This is because we grew up with family members who are immigrants, like we're all from immigrant-based families. And we believe that inclusivity begins with listening. So imagine you're a college student, you're trying to learn from diverse voices, and you want to have meaningful experiences, but you can't because maybe there's a language barrier with accents. This could cause you to think like you're not being as inclusive as you want to be. And this is where our app Sona comes in.
So we first started off with qualitative research with one-on-one interviews with two types of people, listeners and speakers. So we asked these questions to our listeners, and then we asked these similar questions to our speakers, and we wanted to ask something where we could get meaningful responses to really develop our app and see what our consumers need. And these are some key insights we got from our interviewees. A listener stated, "It makes me feel like I'm being insensitive." This was in reference to not being able to understand her professor. A speaker who has an accent when speaking English said, It makes me feel uncomfortable because it doesn't feel good to not speak English well. And our second speaker said, when I'm talking to others, they treat me differently because they become impatient trying to understand me.
Taking us through ideation, we started off by looking through certain stigmas such as gender, race, and age, and we wanted to come up with problems faced today due to the lack of inclusivity and diversity, and apply it both on an academic and professional setting. These are some of the top themes that we ideated around and created mind maps around. You can see that a little better on this slide. This is our mind map. We spent some time thinking of both the first thing that came to mind with those words and also direct examples of experiences we have had or we've seen. And if we go, we started off with our user journey after selecting our idea. This takes you through our after onboarding takes us through the interactions of a user, as in going through the lessons, through the exploring what's popular in your area and exploring by region and profile, which then took us to our wireframes. These were some rough outlines of our wireframe, starting off with a dashboard that has a percentage of days missed and a little area that gives helpful tips. We also we wanted to add a little bit of a gamification element through a timer. And you can, if you go to the next slide, we can see a more mid-fidelity wireframe through that. And then we come to our final solution, which is altogether we have you can see our dashboard view with our display case going back to that theme and our tips. And then also from our lessons, one of the speaking in this one, you would listen to a soundbite and you would try to transcribe the missing words.
So real quick, I'll try and showcase a demo of our product. So as you can see, this is our home screen. If we click continue, this would be a user who's been on the app for a while. It takes us to right where we left off. Right here is our types of games we have. I'd like to showcase our music one. One of our key instincts was how can we make this fun and have our customers or our users, keep returning. So we thought incorporating references to pop culture would not only be helpful, but extremely fun. So for example, here we used Bad Bunny's verse in I Like It Like That by Cardi B. So the user would essentially listen to the song with his verse, hear it by ear, and then try and transcribe it. And then that would be the correct spelling or the correct words he was saying. Now, if we go back to our trophies page, we can see not only a personal goal our user has set, a trophy they have earned for signing up, but every other badge that is able to be collected. And this also adds to our gamification and makes our users want to keep returning in order to complete these badges. I'd also like to highlight our regions feature. I'll let Nidhi speak on that.
As a lot of dialects are from different places of the world, and it's easy to kind of place it into hemispheres, such as you can place a lot of the Southeast Asian dialects, accents kind of similar, like accents from India, from Bengal, from Pakistan, etc. So we thought if people wanted to practice specific accents just to understand and get accumulated, they can click a specific region of the world, and then they can get that kind of music, that kind of pop culture, and those kind of phrases.
Okay, So that was our live demo. Let me get back to our slides real quick. So lastly, we have our next steps.
Oh, yes. So basically right now, Sona, we want to use it in an academic setting because universities are already like building on diversity. They're already talking about inclusivity. That's kind of most universities' whole identity. So then we'd want to grow it to the workplace because there's also barriers for people who have like thicker accents. Sometimes they won't get a job just because of that accent. So we want to move it to the workplace to where people are using it and more jobs can happen. No. And then lastly, we want it to be for like the general public so that this whole stigma with accents, like that shouldn't exist. And so once it gets to the public, everyone can understand everyone's accent.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you to the last team. And that was our last presentation for today. I know we're running a bit late, but just wanted to close out. So yeah, thank you again, all the finalists that presented. That was honestly really, really exciting to see and amazing to see your work in action. Our judges will now get together in our judges room for our final judging round to finalize rubric scores and discuss who will be our top 3 winners, as well as our 3 additional awards listed in the challenge brief as well. So rest up, you guys deserve it, and we'll see you all at our closing ceremony at 7 p.m. PST, where winners will be announced and raffles will be drawn. So thank you all again.